morning and welcome to the Planning Hearing Officer's hearing for Wednesday, February 14th, 2018. My name is Laura Stotler and I'm serving today as Planning Hearing Officer. We have one case and the relevant exhibits are posted on the panel located directly behind me. The agenda, staff reports, and recommendations for each of today's cases can be found on the city's website. A copy of the hearing procedures are available on the counter by the door next to the agendas, and there's also copies of the staff report there as well. Applications for a parking reduction permit shall meet the procedures and criteria set forth in section 30.32070-A and table 30.32-B with qualifying project features. A discussion of these findings are included in the staff report. If the evidence presented in the application and at the hearing today meets the criteria, then the planning hearing officer can either approve or impose conditions for approval on the case in question. If the findings of fact are not evident, then the request will be denied. Notification of this public hearing was accomplished by the use of public notices, which were mailed to property owners and occupants located within 500 feet of the subject property. A notice was physically posted on the site in question, and an advertisement was placed in the local newspaper, and there's also a posting on the city's website. Hearings will proceed as follows. I'll read a description of the requested entitlements. The case planner will then make a brief overview of the case, give an analysis, and make a recommendation. The applicant will then be asked to come forward stating both name and address, and will be asked to present the case within a 15-minute time limit. Others in support of or in opposition to the application and interested parties will be asked to come forward to speak, stating both name and address with a 3-minute time limit. Lastly, the applicant will be given the opportunity to make closing comments if desired in response to testimonies given by preceding speakers, and they will have a 5-minute time limit. The hearing will be closed and the case taken under submission. After the hearing, a decision will be prepared in writing and will be in the form of a letter sent to the applicant and to all persons who have responded to this public notice, either by speaking at this hearing or by submitting a written comment letter and providing their name and mailing address. The date of the decision will be the date appearing on the letter. However, if a decision is made at this hearing, the decision date will be today's date, and the 15-day appeal period, and these are calendar days, will start today. Under the appeal provisions of Title 30, Chapter 30.62 of the Glendale Municipal Code, the decision may be appealed to the Planning Commission within 15 days of the date of the decision. Anyone wishing to appeal may obtain forms and brochures on the procedures for appeals from the Permit Services Center located in room 101 of this building. If you wish to speak today, please write your name and address on one of the speaker's forms. They've been provided by the front door, and please submit it to our assistant. I would like to inform everyone that the official proceedings of this hearing are being recorded as part of the public record. So for the case on the agenda today, it is a parking reduction permit, case number PPRP 1720155, located at 1146 North Brand Boulevard, Suite 403. And the applicant is Rodney Kahn. This is an application for a parking reduction permit to allow a 972 square foot addition to the second story of an existing 3,097 square foot medical office building, providing 9 parking spaces where 20 parking spaces are required in the C3 commercial services zone. And with that, I'd like to ask the case planner to please provide an overview.
Thank you, Hearing Officer Stotler. As noted, there's currently a 3,997 square foot office building on an approximately 8,038 square foot lot. There are 9 legal non-conforming on-site parking spaces located at the rear of the property. Access to the on-site parking spaces is provided by a 10-foot wide driveway on the north end of the property and the driveway apron on Brand Boulevard. The building was constructed in 1952 as a professional building. In 1993, a 560 square foot room addition and 694 square foot of attic storage space was added to the existing dental office with 10 parking spaces. Records show that the building was used for the practice of oral surgery in 1980, and beginning in 2008 it was used as a medical office for Glendale Surgical Associates. A parking reduction permit was granted with conditions on November 6, 2014 to allow a 1,115 square foot surgical center addition to the existing 982 square foot medical office building without providing the required 5 additional parking spaces. So as noted, there were 10 spaces, but 1 space was removed to comply with ADA requirements. As noted, the applicant is proposing to add 972 square feet, which is currently attic space used for storage, to be converted to the doctor's office space and restroom when he's at the facility. There would be an exterior change to the building for the addition of stairs at the rear to meet building code requirements. Generally, surgeries are performed predominantly on Wednesday and Thursday afternoons and occasionally on Saturday mornings, and the remainder of that time the surgical center is not used. The surrounding uses are to the north and south are dental offices, to the east are multi-dwelling units, and across the street are medical and offices. Staff did receive 3 letters or emails in opposition to the project, which are in your file.
Mm-hmm. I have those.
And no major comments from our city departments other than the regular comments. Staff is able to make the required findings to grant the parking reduction permit, and the findings can be found in the staff report. And that's my presentation if you have any questions.
Okay, so just to confirm that the floor that's being added looks to me it's restroom, it's office use for the doctor, and storage, correct?
Correct.
Okay. I don't have any other questions. Thank you. I'd like to call forward the applicant, Mr. Rodney Kahn.
Good morning. Good morning, Ms. Stadler and city staff. My name is Rodney Kahn. My offices are located at 1111 North Grand Boulevard. So I'm across the street from the subject property. Dr. Harry Hovanessian is an ophthalmologist, and he's based here in the city of Glendale. So he does both eye exams, and he also does eye surgeries. The new floor area being added.
Yes. Okay, sorry. Thank you, Henry. Bye. Sorry.
That's okay. Thanks. The new floor area being added is for the doctor when he's at this facility. And it is solely used for his office, as you identified correctly. It's an office area for him. It's not for his staff or for patients or anything else. There's a restroom and there's also storage up there as well. Currently, the building in that area is used for storage. The exterior of the building, the height of the building, the overall mass of the building will not change at all. It's currently there. As was identified by Ms. Doherty, there will be an exit stair on the east side of the building, which is the rear of the building, that the city's building department is requiring for this area. A significant amount of our floor area is used for surgical procedures. Actually, the main office that the Dr. Hovanessian has is on Central Avenue. So this is the brand which is primarily for surgical. And if you look at the floor plans that's been provided, about 1,200 square feet, which is on the front or west side of the building, is used for surgeries. And as Ms. Doherty also pointed out, surgeries are only performed on certain portions or parts of the week and the day. The other part of the building is for the medical offices. And as was commented on in the original production and commented on here, when the surgery center is in operation, the medical offices are not. When the medical offices are in operation, the surgical center is not. The days of the week and the hours of operation for this facility are Monday from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., Same with Tuesday. Wednesdays and Thursdays, they have the ability to go from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Fridays, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 1, and that's only on occasion. Usually Saturdays and Sundays it's closed. This facility, as was pointed out, Wednesdays and Thursdays, and occasionally on Saturday morning, there are other surgeries. The other times, it's for the examinations or the preps for the surgeries coming up in the future. The stairs I've already identified relate to building and safety. There's no other exterior changes that we're proposing at this time. To date, for the last 3 to 4 years that's been operating, the parking that we've had has been more than sufficient. In fact, if it was not sufficient, you would be hearing from neighborhood services, you'd be hearing in terms of the complaints from the other businesses in the area, and you're not hearing that. This area will not add any other trips. It will not add any other people. It will not add any other thing to the use. It's solely for the doctor to retreat to between surgeries when he's at this facility and not at his other facility. In terms of meeting the parking regulations and the intent of the ordinance, the intent is to provide off-street parking for a land use so that adjacent land uses, whatever they may be, are not negatively impacted. Obviously, there has not been negative impacts, as I just mentioned, in terms of this facility operating. The 9 parking spaces have proven to be more than sufficient for this facility. The new floor area is used, as I mentioned before, only by the doctor. It's not by his staff, it's not by patients, it's not by anybody else, and it's only when he's at the facility. There was a count that was done, as is required for the application, where you go out and you examine a weekday observation and also a weekend observation to make sure that the number of parking spaces that have been provided meet at all hours, and it's an hourly count, and it starts at 6 a.m. and it goes to midnight. That count was done during a typical weekday, and at no time was more than 9 spaces required for the facility. It was also done on a weekend, which we did a Saturday because Sunday it's closed, and at that time as Saturday as well. There was never a time when it reached the 9 parking spaces that are required. The building itself, in terms of the analysis for the parking, we do not take into consideration street parking. We do have a number of parking spaces in front of the building on the street. That's directly in front. We also have parking spaces to the north on the street and to the south on the street. We are not factoring in any of the street parking at all as it relates to parking for this facility. Previously, we've provided photographs. I have photographs of the area so you can see that the way that it would be operational, photographs of the ground floor, of the other floors as well, and so it's well documented. We know that this parking that's provided on site right now is sufficient. We would ask that you allow the doctor to have this retreat between surgeries for himself only for this area, and that'll conclude my presentation. If you have questions, I'll be happy to provide answers.
I just want to confirm he's not adding additional staff.
No, he's not adding additional staff. He's not expanding his hours of operation. He's not expanding his uses. He's not doing anything like that at all.
Okay. All right. I have no further questions.
Thank you.
But I do have another card.
Sure.
So, Tamar Kavonian.
Good morning.
Morning.
So we're here today because we live across the street from this property. And our concern is that it's become exceedingly difficult to find parking on that street. For example, I have a picture that was taken on just a random day and shows 2 things in this picture. 1, no available parking on the street, and 2, every single parking space behind that building is occupied. So if there's even one extra car, they're parking on the street. We've gotten to the point where we can't have people come to visit because they have to drive all the way to the next block over, almost to Dryden sometimes, to even be able to find a parking space. I understand that it's only office space. I understand he's not adding any additional staff. Our concern isn't just for today, it's for the future. Because once the variance is in place, that office space can easily be turned into something else. He can easily hire additional staff. He can, easily expand his operations to every single day of the week or all the hours that he's allotted. That's our biggest concern, is just the congestion and the inconvenience for the people who actually live there 24/7.
Do you know what day you actually looked at when you were there? Was it one of the days he was actually in operation? Or?
Yesterday.
It was yesterday?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Would you like me to give it to you?
Sure. Okay, thanks. And then did you happen to see anybody go in there to look for parking and then come
There's
out
a
to park
car
on the
right
street?
there going into the driveway, the white car.
Right. Did you
They were going in. Well, I mean, I didn't take time lapse photography, but they did go in, didn't find parking, and had to come back out.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Then I'd ask the applicant if he wants to have a rebuttal. Sure. And did you want to see the photo?
I'll give that back to you after I speak, so for the record. A few things. One is I work across the street from the property I mentioned. I walk this area. If I don't go by here once a day, I go by here twice a day because I go up to the Ralphs and I walk back, and I'm always looking over. In terms of the parking, I was there yesterday as well. I was there yesterday a little before noon, and I had no problem finding a parking space. In fact, I pulled to the back, and there were a couple spaces, so I didn't park there. I turned around on site, and I pulled to a space that was right in front of the Grossman McKay Dental Facility as I was coming out. And that was close to noon yesterday as well. But that wasn't the one time I've been there. I've been there many, many, many times and not had a problem with the parking. Also, they have a shared driveway. I don't know if you've had a chance to go out there and observe. So if there was a parking problem and they were needing to park somewhere, people would actually be encroaching because there's other parking lot that's part of the shared driveway. Obviously, that's not happening. Otherwise, you'd be hearing from those businesses that are directly impacted. So in terms of parking, I don't think there's an issue for this facility and for this use. The second thing, as was pointed out in terms of this may be sufficient for the doctor now, but he potentially could change. He could change his hours of operation. He could change his use. He can change a number of things. If that's the case, then the conditions of approval that relate to this application and the previous application would change and would need to be enforced. The reason we are here today is because the condition changed. The condition states very specifically any change of use, hours of operation, square footage, or anything along those lines requires us to come back for a new public hearing. So there should be some peace of mind given that what we're presenting here today and the way it's operating will continue to operate. If it was to ever change, we would be back in front of you for a new public hearing. I'll conclude my remarks. I thank you for your consideration, and we ask for your approval. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Is there anyone else here who wishes to speak on this item? I don't see anybody else. Therefore, I am going to take this item, I'm going to close the public hearing, and I am going to take this case under submission, and I will be preparing my decision. There are no further items on this agenda, so this meeting is now adjourned. Thank you for coming.